Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are on this Gooner planet. We have no game to discuss this weekend apart from the Interdal, but we thought because I haven't been on since Sunderland, we actually, none of us at the same old Arsenal did a post game after Sunderland. We've got a few things that we want to talk about and also preview what's coming up because it's a big, massive week coming up. So we thought to join us would be the fabulous Mervyn. Good morning, Mervyn.
Good morning. How are you both?
I was all right until I logged onto StreamYard and didn't understand what the hell was going on, and I'm not very good at IT differences, so hence why we are delayed 7 minutes. But thank you for
I'm
bearing
geared.
with us.
I'm geared up. I've got my Champions
Look at
2003-4
that.
T-shirt. I've got my Anfield '89 mug. I'm geared up for it this morning.
Well, talking about mugs, the mug I've got says Mrs. Arsenal. Someone bought that for me for last year. Isn't that lovely? Right, let's welcome James, my podcast brother from another mother. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Looking forward to this one today.
Thank God you are here, my IT specialist, because...
Well, I'm not really much good, Amanda. I don't think I've actually done anything apart from just tell
have.
you that everything's going to be fine.
Everything's going to be fine. Well, everything was going to be fine until it was alluded to the fact that Gabriel got injured yesterday. I am sick to death of these bloody interdals. Honestly, there's always one thing after another. And if there's the one person you do not want injured coming up for Tottenham, Bayern, and Chelsea, it is Gabriel. However, we do have cover with Mosquera, with Hincapi. So we're going to get into all this. But welcome to everybody in the chat room. And thank you so much for waiting because it's been a little bit weird. StreamYard looks very different. And also, I think now we can see people. Good morning, Mr. Pepperman. Lovely to see you last night. I can see people that are listening on their phones, which I think this is a whole StreamYard thing that's going on. But anyway, less about that. Good morning to everyone on audio as well. We really appreciate you joining us. And morning to all these lovely gooners that have come and joined us on this Sunday morning. And good evening from Australia. This is why we like doing these, James, early, because we do get our global fans that, their time differences are 10 hours more that can never join us at 7 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's all good. It's all good. So I hope everyone's well. Come in with your questions because today's going to be a little bit different. We are going to go back over Sunderland. You're probably sick of reading about it, talking about it. It's gone. But we haven't spoken about it. So, James, in a nutshell, your views on last Saturday, and then I'll come to you, Mervyn.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a tricky one for me to watch, to be honest, because I had a bit of a personal commitment where I was visiting a close friend's newborn at the time, so I didn't really get to watch the game properly. So I'm trying to pay attention to that whilst also just on my phone, ever so slightly keeping an eye on Sky Sports. But it's one of those games where I think going into it, I said I had a bit of a bad feeling about it, or a bit of a strange feeling. Sunderland are a really good side, and if you look at where they are in the table, on paper, you would say a point there is a perfectly fine result to go away to a team that are fourth in the league, unbeaten at home this season, got a really good manager, really good identity, really good way of playing. There's no shame in a point, especially after the run we've been on, and especially when you consider we went into that game with so many injuries, with Marino up top. I mean, it's just far from ideal circumstances. And in terms of attacking options off the bench, we were very, very few and far between. So I'm fine with the point. I'm not too happy with the context in which we got it, because I do think that when you go 2-1 up, I have full faith in this team in those situations to see games out. So I'm a little bit underwhelmed, I suppose, that we let it slip. But at the same time, this is football. They're a good side. It's going to happen at some point. I think, as many others have said, if you're going to drop points, that's the way in which you do it. When you're running on empty, you've got players injured, and you're up against a team that are basically treating it as a cup final. And fair play to them. I mean, Dan Ballard's absolute man mountain, Granit Xhaka out there with a point to prove. They're a very motivated team, and if I was a Sunderland fan, I'd be very, very happy with what I'm seeing from them this season, especially when you consider they went up via the playoffs. They didn't even get automatic promotion, so they're doing some brilliant, brilliant things in the Premier League. A real asset to it, but it does put pressure on these next couple of games now. I think, although we've got a 4-point lead and a nice bit of breathing space, I would have much preferred us to beat Sunderland, beat Spurs, and then have that Chelsea game with a little bit of wiggle room. But I now feel like we've got to win both of those games.
But James, and I see it slightly different, because I think it's a little bit not disrespectful for Sunderland. I thought they played really well. They deserved their point. First half was all them, second half was all us. So for me, we had tied legs out there, didn't we, Mervyn? And I so so you're saying we must win against Tottenham. We must win against every game. This is how all Arsenal fans are feeling. Every single game is must win. It's not going to happen, is it, Mervyn? We are going to go away with the injuries we've got, with the fact that we had tied legs. We had 2 away games. This was our 3rd away game, and they just felt like it was second half. Yeah, they definitely upped the tempo and stuff, but there was tied legs. Do you think Arteta could have made a couple of substitutions? But let's see what you think about it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have done. We're slightly running on empty. We've had a run of games where we've kind of, we've won by 1 goal. I mean, Newcastle, we did that at the end. I was at Fulham, and it was kind of, the second half, once we'd gone ahead, it was kind of like, shut up shop time. And I think that that mentality possibly is what was prevalent at Sunderland as well. They obviously, I'm sure Arteta prepared them for Sunderland to come straight at them and to be on the offensive. Once we got ourselves in front, I was a bit concerned. It seemed to be a bit, okay, we've done the job now. We just need to get through to the 90 minutes. And you knew that, as James outlined, the players they've got, Ballard, Xhaka, and with a point to prove, passionate fans screaming them on. I was always a bit concerned that we needed another goal. So in a way, it wasn't a bad result. And over the course of a long season, hopefully, it was just one of those. It's just one of those results. Whether or not psychologically, because we're going straight into 2 London derbies and quite a difficult Champions League game. And then we've got a run of games like every 2-3 days, there seems to be another game. And we've got injuries. That's, I think, possibly what put a slightly different spin on it, thinking, what we could have done with those extra two points, because the next 3 or 4 weeks might be quite difficult.
But okay, so I have a little bit of a different spin on it. So I was invited on to BBC London Radio this week, and actually it was a really good chat. I was on for about 10 minutes with this guy that wasn't one of those that was trying to prod and get a rise out of me. We had a really good chat, and he said 2 months ago Liverpool were winning the league. You lot weren't. Now you're winning the league. I said no one's winning the league in November. I will say this till I'm blue in the face. I said it in September, I say it in October, I say November, December and January, Feb. No one's winning the league. Things can turn very quickly. Look at City coming. Look at Liverpool. They're in their bad patch. They didn't have one last year. There's the difference. They're in a bad patch. They've got to get out of that. They probably will. They'll start winning 3 or 4 games and all of a sudden they'll be second. That's what can happen. Yeah. We could lose a couple and we could end up third. City have Haaland, which is a major issue. He's like an absolute machine. He just doesn't stop. Unless, he gets injured, I can't see them falling by the wayside. So here we go again, where it looks like it's more between Arsenal and City. We do have to win every game. Of course we do, but we're not going to. So I just feel... So I was talking to the guy on the radio, and if anyone wants to listen to it, it is on our YouTube channel. He was a really good guy, actually. I really enjoyed talking to him. And he said I was one of the most sensible fans he'd spoken to. I said, well, I don't absolutely lose it. We didn't lose at Sunderland. To be fair, you two are talking like we've lost. This is where we've come now, that actually a draw is not good enough. But he asked me the question. He said to me, this time last year, what would have happened? I said, we'd have lost at Sunderland. It'd have been 2-2. And in the 95th minute, they'd have got a goal. And that's how, we've improved. We've improved because of our squad. So what's happening now is devastation that Gabriel, and it looks like Calafiore is out as well. But we've got cover, and we've got decent cover. Why I'm going to miss Gabriel is more for the corners. That's where I was more devastated, to be honest. So that's where it's changed, isn't it? So I know it's disappointing, but I felt Sunderland deserved it. And sometimes you just got to go 3 away games in a week. You know, we haven't lost. This is the thing. It's just more disappointing. You are 2-1 up from 1-0 down. I get that. They just ran out of steam, James, didn't they? They just ran out of steam. So it does seem that the cavalry are coming back in for Tottenham. It seems bar Jesus, the lot that have been injured are going to be back. That is massive, isn't it? Absolutely massive.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll all be back. I'm hoping a good chunk of them will. I'm just hoping that we get. I'd be happy, quite honestly, just Madueke back. That'd be fine for me, just to give us another attacking option up front. But if we could also throw into the mix Havertz and Erdegaard as well, that'd be fantastic. But if we could just get them back in the next, 1 to 2 weeks, that would also be really, really beneficial. But obviously, if we're able to get all of them back for the North London derby, that'd be great. But then obviously, I've not even mentioned Martinelli and Gyökeres. If they're back for the North London
I
derby,
think
that
they
gives
are.
us that's essential. I think we really need those guys. So if we've got those attacking options on top of what we've already got, then I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. I do have question marks about what we're going to do in defence. Are we going to play Hincapie? Are we going to play Mosquera? It's nice to have these options, but like you, it's that attacking threat from Gabriel. And he's got such a good record against Spurs. Like, he really turns up for these games. So a part of me is hoping that it's, one of those ones where we felt a bit of pain and he's going to be back. But looking at the actual video of the injury, like, he really pulled up like midway through a sprint. So that just doesn't say to me that he's going to be close to even coming back for the game against Chelsea. So I'm expecting him to be out for about 3 weeks, which
But
couldn't
James,
come at
what's
a
annoyed
worse
me
time.
about that, sorry, but what's annoyed me about that is he's been struggling the last few games. So why did he go? Why was he allowed to play in a friendly? It honestly, I don't know if it was a friendly, but it just pissed me off because these players are playing already too much and they're getting injuries.
Yeah, I agree. And look, nobody wants it. Nobody wants Gabriel playing in these games, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. And I don't think Arsenal can say to Brazil, look, just don't play him, because they don't have that kind of power. He's Brazil's player as well. And if Brazil want him
Yeah.
to play, he's going to play. And there's an aspect as well where I'm sure, even though it's a friendly, Gabriel wants to play for Brazil. He's a bit of a late bloomer in terms of getting on the international stage. He had players like Thiago Silva, Marquinhos in front of him, whereas now he's the centre point in that Brazilian defence. So any opportunity for him to represent Brazil, he's a very, very proud guy. We know this. I'm sure he'll want to take it. So it's frustrating in that sense. But if Brazil want him to play, if Gabriel wants to play, Arsenal don't have much say in it, to be totally honest. So it's disappointing, but you just got to say it's one of those things. It's a real shame, but Spurs have lost Sarr. He came off injured in the exact same game, so it's not just us it's happening to.
No.
But it is indicative of there being too much football at the minute.
Mervyn,
Yeah,
it's disappointing, isn't it? Actually, I think you sent me a little picture of Gabriel yesterday, didn't you? I thought it was
yeah.
this morning I woke up to it, but yeah, no, I remember now. And I was just so busy last night as well that I forgot all about it. It is disappointing, but that is the reason he did what he did in the summer, to get enough
Mm,
players to cover for this.
mm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think the whole point of our transfer business in the summer was that we have cover everywhere, and we're not, if we're missing a key player, particularly, Gabriel or Saliba, particularly Erdegaard, particularly Saka, then we have other players to cover. It's just unfortunate, obviously, a couple of the covering players like Madueke have got injured. But then, on the one side we've got that, and on the other side, two Arsenal boys scored for England. So it's
I'm going to
kind of
get to that,
it's
don't you
yeah.
worry.
Sorry, I jumped in too soon. But
I'm getting to that.
it's unfortunately with the interlull, that's what happens. The players go, and there's not a lot you can do. But obviously, other players might get confidence from it and might be able to, get exposed to some good playing time. So it would be a great shame to lose him for any length of time. And yes, he did pull up in a sprint, which does make you wonder. It's one of these where they say a couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
in January we're saying, when's he back?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a groin. I saw a picture of him holding his groin, and like, I just can't. Honestly, I feel like if this is going to be our year, we cannot afford for this to keep happening every single game. So, James, Mervyn alluded to the England match and the fact that Saka, our star man, because he's not the star boy now, he's the star man, and Eze, and I'm still calling him Eze because apparently he was Eze for years, but he comes to us and now he's Eze. But anyway, Eze scored an absolute beauty of a goal, and our two boys are doing
It
really,
was
really
all
well.
about the pass. It was all about the pass.
Right,
It
this is what
wasn't
I'm going
about
to
the goal.
allude to right now. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if James, do you know all about this?
Of course, how can I not?
Yeah, yeah. So I was at work and I was when I walked in, someone said, "Oh, did you see Saka's goal?" And we were just talking about it. And I said, "What is all this about the Foden issue?" Because all of a sudden my Twitter blew up with this Phil Foden thing. And again, I will say this is nothing to do with him personally. You know, he I think he's lost his confidence, and I think what the pundits were trying to do was to big him up a little bit. But it does feel a little bit, I don't know what the word is, James, suspect that Saka and Eze score, and it's all about Phil Foden's 5-yard pass that wasn't Brazilian style that has been getting all the headlines. What's your take on it?
I mean, it's just how it is, isn't it? The goal from Eze is fantastic. It's
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic, and I think there's probably an aspect, if I'm looking at it on the other side of the coin, that the media want to fuel up Phil Foden and put him in a positive light because he's a player that I think we can all agree on his day is absolutely fantastic. And if we can get him firing for the World Cup and have him as a real big part of the team, then that's only going to benefit England going into the World Cup. And I see it from that point of view. But I do just think it's a little bit unfair to take away from what was a worldie of a goal and look more at the pass than the actual goal itself. Like, that is not a normal goal. The XG was like something like 0.03 or something like that. It's an absolutely stunning finish. And all the plaudits should have been going to Eze for that goal. But of course, it wasn't just him that had a great game. Saka, I think, stands in really good stead the minute for England. Another man of the match performance, scored a brilliant goal himself. I think that came from 0.06 xg. So two really good finishes from two Arsenal players. And I know that a lot of people don't care so much about having Arsenal players in the England setup, but for me, I really love to see players like Saka just be so influential in this England side. I mean, we've got at least two players you can say that are going to be in the starting 11 at the World Cup in Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice. And for me, that's a big deal. I really feel good about that. So, yeah, it was a good night for the Arsenal England boys. But an even better night for Phil Foden.
yeah, bizarrely. So, Mervyn,
Yes.
I don't think I watched it. I've seen the goals because I don't particularly watch England much. And I was very proud. It is lovely to see your boys doing well. Absolutely. And we're all England fans. We want England to do well. But it is disappointing that apparently on Eze's interview that he was speaking about Phil Foden. That I don't really get it, if I'm honest. I don't, and I'm not sure what everyone else is accusing everybody of thinking, but I'm not going to go down that road. I'm just disappointed that, as James said, it was an exquisite goal, that we're not focused on that. That the fact that, two Arsenal players have played so well for the national team, that we're focusing on a, a boy that, on his day, great player. To me, I watched it. I don't know if I'm like looking at this, but it's an average pass, isn't it? Was it something that I've missed here? Because I actually joked and when I could make that pass, but and when I watched it, I was like, I was expecting some Brazilian style pass. It was a good pass, great. But Eze's goal was beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, England get a very different kind of coverage from the football journalists. We know that. But I mean, you're quite right. I mean, yeah, Phil Foden is one of the best young midfielders playing for one of the three best sides, certainly in England, probably one of the top half dozen sides in Europe. He should be able to do that in his sleep. I mean, that's the, you know, he shouldn't be wearing the England shirt if he can't make that pass in that situation. I suppose all they would say is often with those passes, the player running on has to maybe change stride or break stride, and he didn't have to. A bit like the Eze's long pass to Martinelli for the equaliser against City. You know, he didn't have to break stride. You know, it was kind of perfect. So maybe that's what they were getting carried away with. I don't know, but yeah, standard run-of-the-mill pass.
Yeah, I agree
he's
with
a top
Goon
Premier League player.
Yeah, it's just standard. Unless that's what I was saying. Unless I'm missing something, Mervyn. Unless because I don't play football and I haven't played football since about 40 odd years. But
I think that all I can think is it's because Eze could just move on to it. He didn't have to shift position. He didn't have to break his stride. He didn't have to do that. He could just go straight onto it. But again, you know, we're playing Serbia. We're kind of, you know, playing for fun. These are young players who are having the time of their lives with top clubs. It should be just standard. You know, that to me is an expectation. You know,
but you mentioned Eze's pass. You mentioned Eze's pass to Martinelli. That was exquisite. And yeah, of course you're going to rave about that. But that's what I was saying, unless I'm missing something here, it was a good pass. But
it's media bias. Always has been media bias. Always will be. I don't know why.
It's weird because, hold on, there's just a comment here. John saying it was Lee Dixon, the Arsenal hater, bringing it up in commentary. I've met Lee Dixon many times. He's not an Arsenal hater. I can tell you that for nothing. He's not.
No.
But a lot of Arsenal fans, maybe the younger generation, I don't know how old John is, but feels like that. And they feel like that about Alan Smith as well. And he's not either. However, Lee was brought up a Man City fan, you know, so I don't know if there's a little bit of praise, extra praise. I think what I'd heard is that they were trying to build Foden up and then that happened. And I think they just went a little bit over the top. That's what I'm hoping. Gary saying, I agree, Amanda, the pass Foden made was nothing more than a bread and butter pass and what he should be doing playing for England, that was what I was trying to get to. The next thing I want to get to is the fact that if Harry Kane would have scored that, James, would we have heard the last of it? Would it have been a different narrative?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get his annual penalty against us in a couple of weeks' time. So I'm sure the narrative will be written for that one.
No, but I mean, if he'd have scored what Eze scored, I'm just thinking it would have been Kane this and Kane that and Kane this, and it's a shame.
Goal of the century, it would have been. Goal of the century.
Yes, but it was a brilliant goal, and we're not focused on that. We're just focused on the fact that the media have gone on about this, and it was just a strange thing to see. You didn't want that. You don't want to see that. You want to see the player getting praised. And if Harry Kane would have scored that, we'd have gone great goal, you know, just because it's Harry Kane. But I support Harry Kane when he plays for England. That's it. He's an England player. So your thoughts on what's coming up. So let's head off now to preview the big week. Now, I don't normally work on 3 games. I will just go to the next game, James. Let's just focus on Spurs. But it is hard quite not to see that every 3-4 days there, we've got massive games. So let's start with Spurs at the Emirates, right? So we haven't been at the Emirates, for 2 or 3 weeks by then? I don't even remember the last time I went, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Atmosphere is are you going to be there, Mervyn, by the way?
Sadly, I'm not. I'm going to be in Egypt. But don't worry, my ticket is being used by an Arsenal fan.
Oh, that's fine. No, I was only going to say, because I'm going to say the 3 of us will be there. So the 2 of us will be there, and you'll be on vacation, watching it on your phone, no doubt, or in the hotel.
That's right.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. Indeed, yeah. And I'm sure you'll find lots of Arsenal Spurs fans around, because football is so global, isn't it now? So, James, we're going to be there, 4:30 kickoff. against Spurs. I can honestly say I think it's going to be electric.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like you say, we've not been to the Emirates in a while, and I think there's been a lot of talk about how good the atmosphere at the Emirates has been, but this is really a chance for us to really make it feel like a fortress. So I'm, yeah, really looking forward to it. I don't like the 4:30s on Sunday, if I'm being honest with you. I wish it was a little bit.
Mm.
I'd much prefer it was like a 5:30 on a Saturday, something like that. But hey, we don't make the rules. Either way, it's going to be a really really good game, really good spectacle, and it's a game that I know it's a North London derby, and every single season we say it's a North London derby, anything can happen. I don't feel that way about this one. My expectation is that we win it. We have to win this game. Spurs are better away from home than they are at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, but we're a better team than them. I think even Jamie O'Hara would have to admit that. Like we are a better team than them on paper. In terms of playing everything. Like I think we are a much better side than Spurs, and this is the sort of game that if you want to win the league, even though it's a derby, you have to win it. So. That's my expectation going into it, and anything else, not to put too much pressure on, I'll be very disappointed with. Like, if we get a draw, I think that'll be a terrible result, to be honest with you.
So interestingly, I understand why you feel like that. I do, but it's Arsenal Tottenham. And I'm sorry, James, anything can happen. Okay. Honestly, I've been there so many times that you think, we're gonna do this, and then something happens and the players don't turn up, or you know what I'm saying, Mervyn. I think we're a bit older and we remember all these games. And for all the younger people in the listening and stuff, this is it. This is my game of the season. This is it. Not Man United, not Chelsea, not Liverpool, not City. This is the game for me, Mervyn. But you do find a lot of the younger ones hate United more or hate Chelsea more. I don't get it. I never will get it. It's them. It's that lot. The white side of North London. It's them. And I cannot absolutely stand the ground they walk on. I don't like anything about them. And I want to beat them. I don't even ever want them to win a throw in, let alone a match. So for me, this is it. This is massive.
Don't hold back, Amanda. Don't hold back. It's it's interesting for me because there's a family side as well. I think I might have mentioned on a previous episode. My sister married into a Spurs family many years ago, so it's when I was growing up at school, there were kind of everybody seemed to be a Spurs fan. There were only about 3 Arsenal fans. So I mean, I've kind of had that most of my life. And yeah, I mean, we've tended to have the upper hand over the last 40, 50 years, generally in terms of trophies and things. But I think going back a few years, it wasn't. It was a lot more unpredictable. Whereas I think that the way football is now, sounds like some old man or something, but the way it is now, and the way that modern young managers like Arteta have their teams playing specific ways, they drill every part of the action. I think that it's slightly different to, I mean, the old. I mean, I always Arsenal Spurs. I always think back to things like the 1987 League Cup semi-final, 2-0 down, 3/4 of the way through, and they made that announcement about the tickets for the final, and suddenly 10 minutes later it's 2-2. Things like that is kind of like, that's what it kind of I remember. But I look like at my son and their generation. I don't think, because growing up with the Arsene Wenger years, and when it was us and United, and has been us and Liverpool. I don't think the Spurs rivalry has been, for the younger generation, has been that strong, because they've really only known Arsenal being in the ascendancy.
So interestingly, you mentioned that. I was at that game when they did that announcement, and
Yep.
not many people heard it around me. And I was like, I said to my cousin, because I had my dad's ticket and my cousin went with me, but I didn't go to the replay. I don't think I was there. And I remember going to my cousin, did they just announce at half time? I was like this, probably a little bit of a stroppy teenager. I was like, did they just announce that the Wembley ticket? I was like, it's half time. He went, I didn't hear that. I went, I'm sure they did. I remember
Yeah.
saying it, thinking that's a bit off, isn't it? But that is why I think since that day I never say anything anytime ever, because that 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 you just don't do. However,
Mm.
I think someone just put Spurs are not our rivals anymore. It's not about rivals. It's not about the fact that they're maybe not on our level. We may not be on their level at times. It is that derby. It is that derby you want to win. Of all the derbies I want to win, it is that derby, home and away. Because I think, like you, Mervyn, I've got friends that are Tottenham. I've got family. Most all of my mum's family are Tottenham, and we're the only Arsenal part of it. So, it, just growing up, generally,
Mm.
I look at when the fixtures come out, I look to see when we're playing them home and away to make sure I'm here. I don't do that with any other match. Maybe Liverpool, funny enough, or City, but generally Tottenham is the first I look for. So, James, you are a little bit younger than me. So, are Tottenham the ones that you want to beat? If you had to choose one team in the whole season, would it be Tottenham or not?
Uh,
And sorry, London Derby. I'm talking about derbies, not Liverpool City.
yeah, of all the derbies, obviously. I mean, winning away from home in the past couple of seasons at their place has been some of the most satisfying wins I think I've had as an Arsenal fan. That Gabriel header last season, going there last season, I think was one of my favourite games because we had so many players out. Remember, Declan Rice got the red card against Brighton. We had Jorginho and Partey in midfield. It wasn't the strongest of teams we could put out. We had no Martin Odegaard either. So to go there with, a team that wasn't as strong as it could be and to win that game through that big Gabby header, I mean, absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, my expectation, like I said before, just to reiterate, my expectation is that we win this game on Sunday because we are a better team than them. But I mean, going away from home and beating them is one of the most satisfying victories I think you can experience as an Arsenal fan.
Okay, both. So I'm gonna not predict. I can't do it against Spurs, but do you two want to predict? Does anyone want to predict? And also, guys, I've got no questions yet to ask these two. So come on with your questions. Anything about Arsenal? James, do you want to predict or not?
Yeah, I don't mind. I'll go 2-0.
Right. James 2-0 Spurs. Mervyn?
I'll go 2-1. I think it will be quite tight. I think I was hoping when they won the Europa League. In fact, I did joke to my brother-in-law that kind of the idea of, we were happy for you to have the Europa League as long as you then gave Postecoglou a new 3-year contract, but they didn't. And I do actually, although I know he's had a run-in with his players, I actually think Thomas Frank's a good manager. And I think that he will probably set them up slightly differently on this one because he'll know what it means, obviously, to the Spurs fans. So I think he'll be setting them up to at least draw, I think. But I think we will win.
Well, apart from Emerson in the comments, most people are saying we're going to win. So I will keep quiet on that one. I just can't book it. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to be electric. We have to turn up. We have to turn up. And what I don't want is to go 1-0 down. I just don't want that. I just don't. I think at home in a game like that, James, we need to start on the front foot, don't we? We need to take it to them because they're not going to park the bus. They won't do that. That's not the way they play.
I'm inclined to agree with Merv. I think there is a good chance that they will set up a bit more defensively and try to hit us
Really?
off the counter.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, under Postecoglou, you could say that they're going to come flying out of the blocks and try and catch us, but Thomas Frank is a much more intelligent manager than Postecoglou, in my opinion. So I think he will look at this game in isolation and completely agree with Merv. Just recognise its significance to the fan base and try and catch us on the break, because they'll probably look at what Sunderland did to us and say, okay, if there's any way we're going to get something from Arsenal, that's the kind of blueprint we've got to follow. And I think they'll try to do something quite similar. But we've just not got to, we just can't let that be a factor, really. We've just got to blow them away with our quality. So it's important, yeah, we do come flying out the blocks, but we need to ensure that we've got Gyökeres in that starting 11 in order to do that. I think we really missed him in the game against Sunderland and even for the second half against Burnley. So I want him back in the team. Hopefully Martinelli is there as an option to stretch the defence towards the end of the game. And if we can have, one of Madueke, Havertz, Ødegaard on the bench as well, I mean, that's going to be such a boost to this side. But I just think player for player, we're such a better side than them. So I have full confidence that we're going to get this job done.
Mervyn, talk to me about, if the players we think are coming back, who would you start with? Jesus, I don't think has got a chance at the moment, but the rest, it does look like they do.
I suppose that because there's still more games this international break, this interlull. So yeah, hopefully, I'd like to hope Gabriel is fit, but as we said earlier, it doesn't look like he will be.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Arteta to go strong. So I mean, unless somebody is injured, I'm expecting him to start Saka, to start Rice, to start Zubimendi, to start if Gyökeres is fit. Because I agree, I think that against Sunderland we needed that physical presence up front. So I don't think he'll do anything particularly different. I think that it will be his, I suppose the starting 11 we're pretty much used to, and he might start with Eze, and then if Madueke is fit, he might not start. He might come on in the second half, something like that, I think. But I don't think he's going to suddenly change the team around that much from his usual starting 11 for these kind of games.
We also, James, have to see, don't we, who's taken knocks from the internationals and who's going to be completely fully fit by next Sunday. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because the bench is going to, if they are all back, the bench is going to be one of the best benches we'll ever see.
Yeah, and then the question is who's going to miss out, whether it's Wanyeri, whether it's Norgard. Very nice problem to have. But I mean, obviously the thing with getting all these players back is there are going to be some guys that aren't going to be totally happy with their situation. But we've got enough games on the horizon. I mean, look at our schedule after this international break. I mean, it's a game pretty much every 3 days for the foreseeable future. So great that we're going to have loads of football to watch, but it's going to be interesting to see how we use the squad, the players we've got at our disposal. Yeah, exciting times. And I for one, can't wait to have all these guys back, because I think we haven't even hit full stride yet in terms of our attack, and just to have key players like Havertz back, Madueke, who was so influential at the start of the season, Ødegaard, who is obviously our captain and leads our press, having these guys back, and then throwing a Gabriel Jesus into the mix as well, it's going to be quite something.
So would you put Gyökeres back in straight away if he's fit?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Because he's not been out for ages. It's like the odd game, isn't it? And it's interesting to see what he's going to do. I think I'm a little bit more with you, Mervyn. I think he will play roughly the same sort of team. You can't change it that dramatically. Not against Spurs. You can't do that. Just want to say you're listening to the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Please hit the like button, subscribe, press the bell, and you won't miss a show, because we will be back post Spurs. Whatever happens, we will be back. So leaving Spurs, then we got the small little game of Bayern Munich at the Emirates, Mervyn. I mean, you're not a treat for football. Honestly, it's like you get nothing for 2 weeks, and they're like buses. Sunday afternoon.
I will be back for that. I will be back for that game.
So it's Wednesday for Bayern, isn't it? Is it Wednesday?
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, if you the electric atmosphere is going to happen Sunday, there's no doubt. But it'll be back on the Wednesday evening, won't it?
Oh yeah. There will be. I mean, there's always a good atmosphere with the big European games. Always has been. You know, all my years in going, there's always when one of the, I suppose, big European teams comes to Highbury, Emirates. There's usually a bit of a buzz because you know it's the old. Part of it's English mentality of wanting to get one over on them, but also it's because you know you're in European competition, you're playing against the best players, and so it's I'm feeling quite confident at the moment because I think that we have a style of play that's a lot of teams will find hard to stop, particularly when we've got Jokere's back, Madueke back, Havertz, as we said. We've got different angles of attack, and I think this is why we've got the squad we've got. A, we've got cover in every position, but B, we've got. Hopefully, we can change games. From the bench. So I mean, I'm excited, and I think that it will be a big atmosphere, different to the Spurs one, because that will be more nervous. And I don't think people will be as nervous for Bayern. A, because we're already in a strong position in the Champions League groupings, but also because it's a different kind of feel when it's a European game. So it's I'm glad I'm back for that one, and I expect it to be another Declan Rice free kick.
Oh, could you imagine? Didn't he win an award this week for the Puskas?
I think he's been nominated. His
nominated,
free kick.
because I keep seeing this everywhere as well.
Yeah, he's one of the finalists, I think.
Right, you two then. So, what's your predictions, Mervyn, for Bayern?
2-1, Harry Kane penalty.
James?
I'll go 1-1 for that.
Okay. It does all depend, doesn't it? I mean, it's very hard to predict at the second game because we don't know who's going to be fit. We don't know what's happened on Sunday yet. We don't know if we're going to go into it like a 4-0 win over Spurs, please God, or we've lost. And it will change his way of thinking maybe against Bayern, because then he can't afford, can he, James, to then go into Chelsea. If we do, God forbid, I'm not even putting it in the universe, draw or lose against that lot, it does become pressure, doesn't it, for the league, for Chelsea away. It's Chelsea away, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to really rotate quite sensibly in these games. I know, obviously, the Bayern game is a big one and you want your best team out there, but that's certainly a match where I would be considering using the squad a bit more and playing the likes of Mikel Merino, Lewis Skelly, Ben White potentially, and maybe looking to reintegrate some of the guys that are coming back from injury. I don't think they'll start that game. It's obviously not an ideal game to come back into from a long-term injury, but also I don't want our players to be running to the ground going into that game against Chelsea. And look, if we're going to win 2 of these games, I'd much rather we won Spurs and Chelsea. Because I think
it's really interesting. I was going to ask that. If you only had 2, so your 2 would be Spurs and Chelsea, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, the Bayern game is a big game and we're playing a big side, but in terms of jeopardy, there isn't a lot of jeopardy in that game. Like, we could lose it and I don't think it would be the end of the world. Obviously, for momentum, for confidence, as Arsenal fans, you want to win that game. But given the way this new Champions League format is set up, losing it isn't a disaster. And we've got, even if we've got a tough game against Inter Milan away, but then we've got games against Club Bruges, which is by no means an easy game either. But then we've got is it Kairat at home towards the end, so we've got opportunities to pick up more points if things don't go our way on Wednesday night against Bayern. So I'm not looking at it thinking we have to win this game. It would be nice and it would be a real test of our credentials, but we beat PSG at home in the group stage last season, and they knocked us out in the semi-final. So I don't think it's the end of the world if we don't win it.
I agree. I think if we only had 2 choices, Mervyn, it would be Spurs and Chelsea for me as well.
Oh yeah, without doubt. It would be great to win the Champions League, but I want to win the Premier League.
So see, now I was asked this question on the radio. If I had a choice, it'd be the Champions League. I've seen everything else, everything. I have never seen the Champions League. So for me, as I said to them before I'm carted out in my box, I want to see us win the Champions League, and that will be everything. But Mervyn, I'm surprised because you're sort of my age with football. If you only had one choice,
I'm
then would
older
it
than
be
you,
the
Amanda.
Yeah, I know. So you have never, none
I've
of us
seen
have
the
ever seen
Fairs
us.
Cup. I've
Yes,
seen
but
us
it's
win the
not the
Fairs Cup.
Champions League. It's not,
I know.
to be seen as one of the best in Europe, you have to win that. And we came so close against Barcelona, and I was there that night. That's the only
Yeah,
European match
I
I've ever
was
done.
too.
Was
Yeah.
was Barcelona at the Stade de France, and it was so disappointing. And so you would rather win the league this year if we had a choice, obviously.
I think that we have a good squad, a young squad. I think it is important that we win the Premier League. The Champions League would be fantastic. As like you, I don't want to shuffle off this mortal coil without having seen us win the European Cup, Champions League, whatever it's called at that stage. But I think it's very important for the Arteta project to actually win the league. And to start so well and be 4, 5, 6 points ahead of City and Liverpool, and to find ourselves, losing the league in the last few weeks to City again, that I think will do more damage than being knocked out the Champions League by, a Bayern or something. So personally, I want to see that first, because I think this team, the young players in this team will continue to develop over the next 2 to 3 seasons. And I think the Champions League, if we can win the league and then build on that, the Champions League, I believe, will come. But I think, the Premier League for me is the one to win, because otherwise we're just bottlers again. It's kind of, 4 or 5 seasons, Arteta's, been top 2. The narrative will be, he can't get them over the line, and that's why I think, personally, for me, this season, that's most important.
James?
Sorry if that was a bit of a rant.
No,
It wasn't meant
it's
to be.
interesting because I actually thought you'd say Champions League like me. There's only one person in the chat room that actually agrees with me. Most want the Premier League. What about you,
Yeah, because
James?
they're young, you see. They've not seen it before.
I'd be happy with either, but I think the more significant one for the here and now would be the Premier League, because it's harder to win, and it just shows that you're the most consistent, best team over the course of a season, and that would probably give me the most satisfaction. But like Gary Pepperman says in the chat, fantastic name by the way, I think we've got the squads to win both, to go the distance in both, but I think it's important, like I said before, we rotate in these games against Bayern Munich. We keep the squad fresh. We keep players like Lewis Skelly happy, and I don't see why we can't win both. This is the best opportunity we're going to have to do. I don't think we will, but if you're putting a gun to my head, I would say the Premier League. The last time I experienced Arsenal winning the Premier League, I just turned 9 years old, and to be quite honest with you, I'd like to experience it properly as someone that's coming up to 30 now. So I would be very, very happy with Arsenal winning the Premier League. That would do just fine for me.
So Rude 1 star. I've seen us win the league a couple of times already. Don't listen to the noise. He's the only one, or she is the only one that agrees with me in this chat room, which is fine, and that's the beauty of football. I think we'd be happy with either. We would just like to win a trophy, which then leads me on to, we have got 2 questions, and let's talk about Carl's question. Hands on heart, if we finish the season with no trophy, should we start to question if Arteta is the right man to get us over the line? James, I'll come to you first.
I feel like we see this question all the time, but it's all about context, because you don't know how things are going to play out. We could get to the end of the season in March and just have a string of injuries. And if we get pushed the distance by City again and we lose it, on goal difference on the final day of the season, are you going to be calling for Arteta's head? No, I don't think so. I think it's all about the situation that it comes in. It's not. I don't think it's worthwhile talking about it right now, to be totally honest. We all know what everyone's saying. There's so much pressure on us to to win something this season. Everyone wants us to win something, but we all know what two things it is we have to win. I mean, no one's going to be satisfied if we win the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. It has to be the Premier League or the Champions League. And I'm inclined to agree and say, look, this is the time where we have to do it because we've got the squad to do it. This is the best group of Arsenal players I've seen since the Invincibles. Like, they are seriously, seriously good. And a lot of players we've got right now would get in that Invincibles team, I think. So I fully believe we've got the chance to do it, but it's just whether we've got the mentality to get to that point in the season when the pressure is on us, when we have to go to the likes of City away and potentially win those games or not lose them. That's when our credentials are really going to be tested, because I think we've got the quality. My only question is the mentality. Can we deal with that pressure? And that's what I'm interested to see. But I think, for what it's worth, I think we are able to deal with it.
And it's interesting. Rancid Pumpkin, I can't even read that. 5009 or something. Arteta is brilliant. To question him is silly. I don't know who you would do. I don't know who would do a better job than him. Mervyn, do you agree with that, or do you think he needs to be starting to be questioned?
I believe in Arteta, and I think he's driven, and I think he is driven to bringing success to Arsenal. I do believe that. If we finish second again, and it's semi-finals of the Champions League, or I mean, I wouldn't say get rid of him, because he's he. Unfortunately, he's come at a time when, having said that, Liverpool did win the league last season, but I mean, he's having to take City head on. And I don't see any of the other supposed major clubs, really have been taking or trying to take City head on over the last 3 or 4 seasons, other than us. For all the talk about the past glories of Man U and all that, it's kind of, no one's really built a team to challenge except for us. So I wouldn't, if we come second this season, I personally would want Arteta to remain. But I think that, the conversation, obviously, at board level has to be, we invested heavily this season to give you effectively two great players in every position. So what is it going to take to get over the line? And maybe a little bit of pressure put on him in that way. But I firmly believe that he is an Arsenal man, and well, I mean, I know he was obviously Everton and all that, but I mean, he is part of the Arsenal project, and I believe that the Kroenkers, believe in him. And I genuinely think that he will bring, a string of trophies. I know that, it's been 3 or 4 seasons now, but I believe he can do. I mean, I believe in him. I don't know if I might, be on here in a year's time saying, "Oh, I can't believe I said that." You might say, "Mervyn, last year you said." But I genuinely believe in him wanting to make sure that we win the top trophies.
Okay, I'm a different perspective at the moment, because I think if you look ahead to maybe the end of the season, who would be better? There's reasons why we have not won the league in the last few seasons. I get, and he has done what we've asked him to do. And people are saying, "Oh, there's no more excuses," but there is context around this. We are in November, and we're doing brilliant in both leagues. Okay, you can't ask much more. We do have to see. We just seem to be the team, and I don't know if it's just poor me all the time, with the injuries that affect so badly towards the end of the season. So we'd have to see. But the answer isn't always get him out and get a new one in. Look what happens at United. Look what happens at Tottenham. It's constant swinging doors of managers coming in and stuff. Arteta is Arsenal through and through. I think what he's doing is trying to build the legacy, like Wenger did, like Graham did. I'm with him all the way. I am. But anyway, right. Another question that was early on was from Emerson. Amanda, my prediction will be 2-2, and my only concern will be his Tottenham set pieces. And can you or James talk about the concerns of Miles Lewis Skelly's future? I was a bit surprised, James, if I'm honest, that I haven't seen him much this season at certain times. I don't think he did anything wrong last season. I know Calafiori's been a force. I totally get that. But sometimes you could bring him on maybe second half or not. Am I thinking a little bit off here, or is everything
I-
okay?
I'd like to see him more for sure. I do think
Mm,
there are times where you look at Calafiori and think, wow, you can absolutely see why he's in the starting 11, and he holds the width a bit more when Trossard is on the left. It seems to be it's either Trossard and Calafiori or Lewis Skelly and Martinelli. They seem to be the kind of go-to pairings. You don't really see Lewis Skelly and Trossard play because they're both going to come inside, whereas we need someone to hold the width at times. Um, I'm not worried because he's 19 and he's just signed a new long-term deal with Arsenal. But as an Arsenal fan, I want to see him playing more because I think he's an excellent player. He's a Hale End boy. He's an Arsenal fan, and he was excellent. For the majority of games that he played last year. I mean, for all of them, I can't really think of a bad game that he's had for us. But I do also think he's still playing a lot of football, and I understand why he wasn't in this recent England setup because he's not been playing a lot in the Premier League. But he did start that game against Brighton. He did start that game against Atletico Madrid. He was very good in both of those games, particularly the one against Atletico. It's not like he's not getting minutes. He is definitely getting minutes. He's pretty much playing majority of all of the games that aren't Premier League games. It's just interesting that dynamic with Hincapié, Lewis Skelly, and Calafiori because you've got three excellent players all vying for the exact same position. So are we going to see Hincapié bedded in more as a centre half, as a left back? I still think that's to be defined. The same for Calafiori. Like, let's say there's a situation where Calafiori is fit for the game against Spurs, and Hand of Arsenal tweeted out earlier, very reliable source, that there's no real worries about him. So let's say Calafiori's fine for that game. Calafiori's done excellently for us at left centre back as well. So I could see a situation where he comes in against Spurs, and then you've got the option of Hincapié or Lewis Skelly at left back, and I'd personally go for Lewis Skelly. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not worried about him, but I think that's a bit harsh from Ronnie Lamb about watching
yeah, I
his
was going to ask
discipline.
that question.
I
I
think
don't know.
that's a bit of
Morning,
a
Ronnie.
reach.
Nice to
Yeah,
see you on the show. But what MLS needs to watch his discipline. Is there anything that I'm missing here?
I think
Is it
people are
because
still
he's
people are still fixated on that game against Wolves away, where he got sent off for something that he never should have got sent off for.
Mm.
I don't think his discipline is a concern in any way, shape, or form. To be
But
honest
we're
with you,
not in training all the time. We don't know. And someone said he had a bad
no, but
pre-season.
I doubt Ronnie is as well. So
No,
I'm not
of
sure.
course. No, but I'm just saying we don't know, we're surmising that, Mervyn, that everything is
Mm.
great and we don't know anything, do we? People think they know stuff, but they don't. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it's more that it's more
Sorry,
of
Manny. You
the
do also have to consider that Calafiori is an investment as well in this
yeah,
team, whereas Lewis Skelly came through the academy. I get
yeah, of
like you should play
course.
your best players, but Calafiori is a guy we brought in last summer. We paid a lot of money for him, so there is always going to be an aspect where we've paid money for this guy, so we kind of want to see him come into the team. And there's a reason why Arteta went for him, because he loves him as a player. He loves that kind of maverick personality about him. But I think as the season goes on, and I'm almost certain there's going to be an injury to Calafiori at some point. I don't want to wish it on him,
Well, I
but I
think
think
it
that
is. I
it
think
will
someone
come.
mentioned it today, so we may
Mm.
be seeing him against
Yeah.
Spurs.
Yeah, I think that he. I think he's come off during the international break. But I mean, we only saw MLS so much last season because Calafiori was injured.
Yeah, yeah.
But normally, for a 17 to 18-year-old, you wouldn't. I know Saka's been in the team pretty much non-stop since he was 17. But they tend to go in and out. I mean, they'll play a couple of games, and I know that there was a bit of stuff on him because of the thing he did with Haaland, with that kind of taking the mickey when we beat them 5-1. And so, but that's just youth. That's just the excitement of youth. But I think that possibly the narrative has changed because of what Tuchel said about he'll only pick players who are actually currently playing. So he's like dropped him from England because he's not actually starting games for Arsenal, and that I think is, it's Tuchel's that kind of a manager, I guess. But he needs to keep the England squad enthused because there will be big expectations next year about winning a World Cup. And there are a lot of exciting young players, some of them with Arsenal, who people will expect a lot from. So I think that I hopefully Arteta and the coaching staff have got an arm around him, Lewis Skelly, and they're making sure, look, you're part of this, you're part of the project, you're an important part, and just I suppose managing his expectations.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think you're right. Of course, we wouldn't have seen him as much last season, would we? But what we did see of him was absolutely superb, and we all love him. So I totally understand that. Califer will always come first.
It was the same with
Let's do one more
Nwaneri,
question, and then
I'm talking over you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's with MLS.
I'm just trying to find.
It's same with Ethan Nwaneri, same with Max Dowman. They're very young, and to give them these minutes, and then kind of I know it seems cruel to say, here you are, you're starting for the first team, and now you're on the bench for weeks. But it's part and parcel of having a big squad, I guess, and having a lot of good young talent.
Okay, so I've got 2 more questions left. Let's just try and switch it a little bit. Carl said, thoughts on the potential capacity increase and home games being played at Wembley? Well, I won't. I doubt much I'd be able to go to many. It's too far for me. It's too much. I've done it before. It's an absolute nightmare getting there and back. Unless you live in the Wembley area, it's going to be very, very tough. And if they do it for a whole season, I'd probably have to pick and choose my games. What about you, James?
I think we spoke about it previously. I'm not really, I'm not infused by it. I wouldn't certainly want it anytime soon, but there's so much work that is going to have to go into this. I don't think we're going to hear any solid, concrete updates on it for at least a couple of years. So I'm just putting it to the back of my mind for the time being.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Mervyn, did you go to Wembley when we were playing there?
I did. Again, it's not next door for me, but it's not it's not that difficult a journey. I mean, I wouldn't really want to go to Wembley every week, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I don't know what the plans are. What the Kroenkes are feeling about where they want this to go. So it's kind of, I can understand why they want a bigger capacity, because there's a lot of Arsenal fans who can't get tickets, who can't get to go to games. But again, we've got some momentum. I hate to say it, but we might be doing one of these in about 8-9 years' time, talking about, do you remember those conversations we used to have 8-9 years ago with all them young players who then left, and here we are now, battling relegation with
94,000 seats.
Postecoglou was our manager.
God forbid, Mervyn.
A 90,000 stadium with 30,000 empty seats.
Oh God. Just swapping it slightly, and actually I've forgotten about this because this seems to have gone out of the media, isn't it? John G 2775. Do you think we will hear anything about the 115 charges this season? Either of you? Has anyone heard anything?
I've lost interest.
Fair enough. Mervyn?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows what they're doing? They probably. I'm sure the FA, there are things they want to do, and I'm sure their legal team have told them, if you do this, then City will call on this, and they'll tie you up for 2 years through the courts, and
yeah,
who knows?
I think it's just going to be pushed under the carpet, and all of a sudden we won't hear about it again. Yeah. Right, guys, thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning, mid-November. Where we're now no football this weekend for us. We've got a week of stress, the build up to next Sunday, the fact that our London derby is coming at 4:30 next Sunday. I, for one, am looking forward to it. I'll be stressed. It's excitement and stress. It's just the same feeling. James, thanks for coming on with us, as usual, my little podcast brother. Mervyn, thanks for joining us. It's been absolutely brilliant. Love having you on the show.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Oh, yeah, and I want to mention that Arsenal women play Spurs women this afternoon. It was on my notes. Thank you, Rancid Pumpkin, for reminding me. Go and support the women. Let's hope they beat Spurs, and then we do the double over them. It'd be fabulous, wouldn't it? So from all of us at the Same Old Arsenal podcast, if you do hit like and you press the bell, you're never going to miss a show, because I don't know when we're going live against Spurs. If we beat them, I want to go at midnight when I get back from the Emirates. If not, I want to crawl into bed and turn my phone off. So from all of us at the Same Old Arsenal podcast, happy Sunday. Thank you for listening. Always Arsenal.